What if I told you that everything you believe about right and wrong might be wrong? What if your deepest values aren't really yours at all? What if the life you're living is just following someone else's script? These aren't my questions. These are the questions that Friedrich Nietzsche asked over 100 years ago, and they're still shaking people to their core today. Nietzsche wasn't trying to destroy you with these questions. He was trying to wake you up. He was trying to set you free. His philosophy wasn't comfortable. It was a slap in the face, a cold splash of water, a wake-up call that most people didn't want to hear. But maybe, just maybe, it's exactly what we need right now. Picture a small German village in 1844, a quiet place where everyone knows everyone, where tradition rules, where questions aren't welcome. In this village, a boy named Friedrich Nietzsche is born. His father is a Lutheran pastor, a man of God, a man who believes in absolute truth. But Friedrich is different. Even as a child, he sees the cracks. He sees the contradictions. He sees people saying one thing and doing another. He sees blind faith, where he wants real answers. While other kids play games, Friedrich reads books. Big books, hard books, books that make him think. He's hungry, not for food, but for truth. Real truth. The kind that cuts through lies and pretending. This hunger will drive his entire life. It will make him famous. It will make him enemies. And it will eventually drive him mad. But first, it will make him brilliant. Friedrich is a genius with languages. Greek, Latin. He understands ancient texts better than men twice his age. At just 24 years old, he becomes a professor. The youngest professor in the history of the University of Basel. Everyone is impressed. Everyone thinks he's made it. But Friedrich feels trapped. University life is safe, predictable, academic. People debate ideas like they're playing chess. Everything is theoretical. Nothing is real. Nothing has weight. Friedrich wants more. He wants to ask the big questions, the dangerous questions. What makes life worth living? What's the point of all this? Why do we exist? These questions don't fit in academic boxes. They're too wild, too urgent, too alive. So Friedrich begins to walk away from the safety of academic life, from the comfort of belonging, from the security of having all the right answers. He's about to begin the loneliest journey of his life, and it will change philosophy forever. Imagine being sick all the time, headaches that feel like hammers hitting your skull, eyes that hurt from the light, a body that betrays you every single day. This is Friedrich's reality. He's chronically ill. He suffers from migraines that leave him bedridden for days, sometimes weeks. He never marries. He has few close friends. He spends long periods alone, walking in the mountains, riding in solitude. Most people would be broken by this. Most people would give up, feel sorry for themselves, blame the world. But not Friedrich. He uses his suffering like a blacksmith uses fire. He forges something beautiful from something terrible. His pain becomes his teacher. His isolation becomes his laboratory. In the silence and suffering, he begins to think thoughts that no one has thought before. He starts to see things that no one else can see. He realizes something shocking. Maybe suffering isn't the enemy. Maybe suffering is what makes us strong. Maybe the people who avoid all pain, never really live at all. This insight will become the foundation of everything he believes. And then, Friedrich makes the most shocking declaration in the history of philosophy. 6 words that would shake the world. God is dead, and we killed him. Wait. Stop. Before you get angry, listen to what he really means. Friedrich isn't talking about murdering a person. He's talking about the death of shared belief, the collapse of the old certainties that held society together. For thousands of years, people knew what was right and wrong because God told them. The church told them. Tradition told them. Everyone agreed on the basic rules. But now, science is explaining things that used to be mysteries. People are questioning authority. The old foundations are cracking. Friedrich sees this happening, and he's terrified. Not because he wants God to exist, but because he knows what comes next. Chaos, confusion, nihilism, people lost without a map. Society falling apart because no one knows what to believe anymore. God is dead isn't a celebration. It's a warning. It's Friedrich saying, look around, we're in crisis, and most people don't even realize it yet. But here's the thing about Friedrich. He doesn't just point out problems. He offers solutions. Dangerous solutions. Revolutionary solutions. Solutions that require courage. If God is dead, then who decides what's right and wrong? Most philosophers would say, well, we need to find new, absolute truths, new universal rules that everyone can follow. Friedrich says, what if that's exactly the wrong approach? What if good and evil aren't absolute at all? This is where Friedrich gets really dangerous. He suggests that morality isn't discovered. It's created. It's invented. It's chosen. Think about it. Different cultures have completely different ideas about right and wrong. What's honorable in one society is shameful in another. What's virtuous in one era is criminal in the next. So, who's right? Everyone? No one. Friedrich says, stop looking for the right answer. Start asking the right question. Not, what should I do? But, who do I want to become? This isn't moral anarchy. This is moral responsibility. Because if you're creating your own values, you better make sure they're good ones. You better make sure they make you stronger, not weaker. Better, not worse. It's the difference between following a recipe and learning to cook. One makes you dependent. The other makes you free. So what drives human beings? What makes us tick? Most philosophers said it was the search for happiness, or the need for survival, or the desire for truth. Friedrich says, wrong, wrong, wrong. What drives us is something much more primal, much more powerful, much more dangerous. The will to power. Now wait. Before you picture tyrants and dictators, let me explain what Friedrich really means. The will to power isn't about dominating other people. It's not about being cruel or violent or oppressive. It's about growth, expansion, becoming more than you are. It's the force that makes plants reach toward the sun. The force that makes athletes push past their limits. The force that makes artists create something beautiful from nothing. The will to power is life. Wanting to become more life. It's your deepest self wanting to express itself fully. Without apology. Without permission. But here's the scary part. Most people suppress their will to power. They make themselves small. They follow rules instead of making them. They choose safety over growth, comfort over challenge. They live like sheep instead of lions. and Friedrich can't stand it. Imagine that when you die, you don't go to heaven or hell. You don't disappear into nothing. Instead, you have to live your exact same life over again. Every moment, every choice, every pain, every joy. Exactly the same. Forever. How would that make you feel? Would you scream in horror? Would you beg for it to stop? Would you curse your existence? Or would you smile? Would you say, "Yes, I'll do it all again"? Would you embrace every single moment, even the worst ones? This is Friedrich's test. He calls it eternal recurrence, and it's designed to show you whether you're really living or just existing. If the thought of living your life over and over makes you sick, then you're not living right. You're sleepwalking. You're wasting the only chance you get. But if you can say yes to eternal recurrence, if you can love your life so much that you'd gladly repeat it forever, then you're fully alive. You're awake. You're free. This isn't just a thought experiment. It's a way of living. Every choice you make, ask yourself, would I be happy to make this choice infinite times? If the answer is no, then don't make that choice. So what does it look like to live fully? What does it mean to be truly awake? Friedrich has a vision. He calls it the Overman, the person who has moved beyond the limitations of ordinary human existence, beyond the need for external approval, beyond the fear of standing alone. Now listen carefully. The Overman isn't a superhero. It's not someone with special powers or perfect genetics. It's not a master race or a ruling class. The Overman is someone who creates their own values, who says yes to life even when it's painful, who dances on the edge of chaos without falling in. The Overman is an artist painting their life on a blank canvas, a composer writing their own symphony, a poet speaking in their own voice. Most people, Friedrich says, live like herd animals. They follow the crowd. They do what's expected. They're terrified of being different. They choose safety over authenticity. But the Overman walks alone, questions everything, risks rejection, chooses truth over comfort, creates instead of copying. This isn't easy. It's the hardest thing you can do. It means giving up the comfort of belonging, the security of having someone else make your decisions, the safety of blending in. But it's also the only way to be truly free. Friedrich doesn't just talk about freedom. He lives it. Even when it costs him everything. He breaks with his church, with his university, with his friends, with his family, with anyone who wants him to be smaller than he is. He wanders. He writes. He thinks dangerous thoughts and shares them with the world. People call him crazy. They say he's lost his mind. They attack his ideas and his character. But Friedrich doesn't care about their approval. He cares about truth. He cares about waking people up. He cares about shaking them out of their comfortable sleep. The free spirit, he says. Someone who thinks for themselves, who questions authority, who refuses to accept things just because that's how we've always done it. The free spirit is dangerous to the status quo. They make people uncomfortable. They ask the questions that everyone else is afraid to ask. But they're also the only hope for real progress, real growth, real change. In a world without God, without absolute truth, without easy answers, what can save us? Art. Friedrich believes that art is the highest human activity because art doesn't lie. It doesn't pretend. It shows us truth in a way that philosophy and science can't. Think about a great painting, a beautiful song, a powerful movie. They don't argue with you. They don't give you facts and figures. They make you feel something. They show you something about yourself that you didn't know was there. Art takes suffering and transforms it into beauty. It takes chaos and creates order. It takes the raw material of life and makes something meaningful from it. For Friedrich, we're all artists. The medium is our life. The canvas is our choices. The masterpiece is who we become. Most people create terrible art because they're copying someone else's style. They're painting by numbers instead of creating something original. But the Overman, the free spirit, they create masterpieces. They live their life as art, bold, original, uncompromising. After Friedrich's mental breakdown in 1889, he couldn't write anymore. He spent his last years in silence, his brilliant mind lost to madness. But his words lived on, and unfortunately, they were twisted. His sister, Elizabeth, edited his writings to support her own political agenda. She made Friedrich sound like he supported nationalism, racism, anti-Semitism. The Nazis later used his ideas to justify their horrible crimes. But this was a complete betrayal of everything Friedrich believed. He opposed nationalism. He despised racism. He had Jewish friends. He believed in the individual, not the group. In uniqueness, not uniformity. Friedrich wasn't a prophet of hate. He was a prophet of becoming, of growth, of individual excellence. He didn't want people to dominate others. He wanted people to overcome themselves, to become more than they thought possible. The real tragedy isn't that Friedrich went mad. It's that his message was corrupted by small minds who wanted to use his power for their own twisted purposes. So why does Friedrich matter today? Why should you care about a 19th century German philosopher who went insane? Because we're living in his prediction. God is dead. Traditional values are crumbling. People don't know what to believe anymore. We're drowning in information, but starving for meaning. We live in virtual worlds. We present fake versions of ourselves on social media. We follow influencers instead of thinking for ourselves. We choose comfort over truth, safety over growth. We're exactly the kind of herd animals that Friedrich warned against. But his message is also our solution. Stop waiting for someone else to give your life meaning. Create it yourself. Stop following the crowd. Think for yourself. Stop playing it safe. Take risks. Grow. Become. Stop being a copy. Be an original. Friedrich wasn't just about tearing down old beliefs. He was about building something new, something better, something more honest. His ultimate message is simple. Say yes to life. All of it. The good parts and the bad parts. The joy and the suffering. The victories and the defeats. Don't try to avoid pain. Use it. Don't run from challenges. Embrace them. Don't hide from the truth. Face it head on. Life isn't supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be meaningful. And meaning comes from struggle, from growth, from becoming more than you were yesterday. This isn't toxic positivity. This isn't pretending everything is fine when it's not. This is acknowledging that suffering is part of life and finding a way to transform it into strength. Friedrich offers you freedom, but he's honest about the cost. Freedom is heavy. It means responsibility. It means making your own choices and living with the consequences. It means not having anyone to blame but yourself. There's no safety net, no cosmic justice, no guarantee that good things happen to good people, no promise that everything works out in the end. There's just you, your choices, your life, your responsibility. Most people can't handle this weight. They prefer the comfortable lie to the difficult truth. They'd rather follow someone else's rules than create their own. But if you can handle it, if you can carry the weight of your own freedom, then you can become anything you want. You can create any life you choose. You can be truly free. Friedrich doesn't want followers. He doesn't want disciples. He doesn't want people to worship him, or quote him, or build statues of him. He wants creators. He wants people who think for themselves, who make their own mistakes, who find their own truth. He doesn't say, "Believe me." He says, "Become yourself." That's harder. That's scarier. That's lonelier. But it's also more powerful, more authentic, more alive. The world doesn't need more believers. It needs more creators, more artists, more people who are brave enough to be themselves in a world that's constantly trying to make them into someone else. Friedrich believed in laughter, not the kind that avoids pain, but the kind that faces it head-on and says, "Is that all you've got?" Laugh like someone who knows the secret. Laugh like someone who's not afraid. Laugh like someone who's alive. Because laughter is proof that you've survived, that you've faced the worst that life can throw at you, and you're still here, still fighting, still growing, still becoming. You are not finished. You will never be finished. You are a process, not a product. A journey, not a destination. Every day, you have the chance to shed old skin, to break old habits, to become something new, something better, something more. This is Friedrich's gift to you. Not comfort, not easy answers, not false promises, but the chance to be truly alive, to be truly free, to be truly yourself. More than a century after his death, Friedrich's voice still echoes, still challenges, still provokes. Don't settle, he says. Don't sleep. Don't accept less than you're capable of. Burn bright. Live fully. Create fearlessly. Think dangerous thoughts. Ask uncomfortable questions. Challenge everything, especially yourself. His legacy is complex. His message was misused. His life ended in tragedy. But his fire still burns. His call still sounds across time. Are you ready to answer it? Are you ready to wake up? To question? To create? To become? Friedrich doesn't want your praise. He wants your courage. He wants you to stop being a copy and start being an original. He wants you to stop following and start leading your own life, your own way. He wants you to become who you really are, not who your parents want you to be, not who society expects you to be, not who you think you should be, but who you really are. Deep down, in your heart, in your soul. That person is waiting. That person has been waiting your whole life. Isn't it time to let them out? Isn't it time to stop pretending and start becoming? Isn't it time to wake up? The choice is yours. It always has been. It always will be. What will you choose? If this message resonates with you, if it stirs something deep inside, then share it. Discuss it. Most importantly, don't just think about it. Act on it. Because Friedrich's greatest fear wasn't that people would misunderstand him. It was that they would understand him perfectly and do nothing about it. Don't just believe, become.